All right. Hope you guys can hear me. How you guys doing? All right, I think we're good now. How you guys doing? I hope you guys are had a wonderful day. Hope you had a wonderful week. I am actually using another mic because we are in the process of some changes here on this side here. So there's some things I'm gonna have to put aside for a little while. So I had to get another microphone. So if I sound a little different than on my other broadcasts, then you know why. Okay, I'm using another microphone. But let me know in the chat if you could hear that music because I couldn't tell. I saw it playing. So hopefully it was working. If not, I could figure it out. It's easy to figure that out. But anyway, so glad that you guys can join us. And again, like I said, I hope you guys had a wonderful week. And I certainly had. It's been quite busy on this end, as it always is. And, as soon as I get off here, I'm literally going to be jumping right into something else and getting into doing the work I need to get done for today and for a long weekend too. So, but anyway, so glad that you guys can join us, and thank you again. Big shout out, of course, to everybody that's in the chat, and so glad that you guys can join us for today. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to get into a little bit of news. We're going to get into this main topic. And what's the main topic? The main topic is this thing that I noticed this week, and it really gave me pause. It's something that you and I have seen. We've noticed this for a long time, but now I'm starting to see, I don't know, it's really becoming more and more obvious. And it's this model. I'll just give you a hint on what we're going to talk about. There's this model that's out. I don't know her name, still don't know her name. It's a white woman. And, she's kind of, on the thick side or whatever, right? And I noticed the reaction of the men on this particular video that was going around, and because I went right straight to the comments. I mean, I wasn't trying to be like, oh man, I actually went straight to the comments because I was very curious as the reaction of the men on this, and we're going to kind of do a breakdown on that because it lends itself to something in our history that we do need to kind of revisit, but not so much on a sad note, but it's something that I think that what it does show is how disconnected we have become as a people, thanks in large part to the system that we're in right now. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that. And but first, we're going to talk on a little bit of news, just a little bit of some of the highlights of some of the things we've been talking about this week. We're going to get into that. I'm going to tell you about what's going on Samba Tree, because on Samba Tree, we due to a high amount of requests, we have a product that's on there now, and I'll tell you about that. But before we get to that, I do want to let you know that number one, Friday again. Typically this is when we do our movie night. There will not be a movie night tonight, okay? Because like I said, as soon as I'm finished with this, I'm going to be getting right into doing some more, handling some more work and stuff like that. I'm doing that. So tomorrow, starting at noonish, we will finish out the series. I know I've fallen behind on that, but the series that we've been watching over on sambatree.com, we're going to finish that series out. Okay, so I forgot. I think we ended on the last one was episode 6. Well, we're going to finish that out tomorrow. So around 12-ish, noon Eastern Standard Time, we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish that series out. Okay. So just stay tuned for that. And then afterwards, I will upload that series over on Samba Tree so that even if you do miss it, don't worry. The entire series will be on there so that you can watch it. And I tell you, if you have not seen this series, you definitely need to check it out. Because it's very telling. It's very, very telling. Just like a lot of this other stuff that's out here. I mean, I'm telling you, they tell you. They tell you in their movies, they tell you in their sitcoms, they are telling you exactly what's up and what time it is. But this one here, I would say, is probably the most poignant out of many of them. I would put it up on the level of the Matrix. I'll put it along those lines in terms of how direct and how serious, I mean, how very crystal clear they are, when it comes to telling you what's really going on in these streets. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on. I'll pull this up here. Samba tree, really quick here. We've been getting a lot of requests from people who wanted this right here, not that. We're gonna get to that in a moment. Right here. People have been asking about this Laotian green tea. Now, this is a tea that we were selling that came along with it was a kit, right? You get the tea, but you would also get it was a mug that came with it as well. And so we had quite a few people who bought that kit. They ran out of the tea and they're like, hold up now. I want more of that tea. Well, by huge demand, now we have it added to the site. So now you can buy the tea as is, just without the mug. Laotian green tea, and it's right here. And man, yeah, this stuff it's flavorful. It's good. It's not just regular green tea. This tea here, it has a lot of benefits to it. We have it listed. I believe we have it listed here. Yeah. Here we go. And so yeah, so she has all the different things there and how to cold brew it, how to hot brew it, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so if you haven't tried it before, you definitely want to check it out. You at least want to check it out at least once, because again, it's not like your regular green tea. It's really, really good stuff. And we do have it on the site right now. You can order it if you like. And so there you go. So along those lines, we also have a lot of other things here. This is what I was talking about, the green tea cooler kit. We have all kinds of things that are added and being added. And as you know, everything from chia seeds to all kinds of powders to all kinds of teas, oils. Many of you who have been following us for some time, you already know what time it is. You know the stuff we have on here. And we created this page as a way of really trying to get our people, to start really putting a focus on your health. Our goal is to get as many of our people as possible away and out of the doctors, out of the hospitals. We want our people to stop following, having to go to the doctors and depending so much on the doctors. We're not telling you to do it cold turkey. I mean, certainly not trying to tell you to do that. But we certainly want our people to realize that the answer to many of your health situations that are out here, it doesn't necessarily just come by way of a person in a white coat. You can actually get the answers that you need right outside in nature. The Most High has put all of that out there. And so this is what we do. We use this platform here as a way of really wanting to educate and to show and teach our people all the different things that are out here. And starting from your own backyard, literally starting from your own backyard. Some of y'all got a lawn full of dandelions. And the first thing that's coming to your mind right now is, I got to get out here and kill all this stuff. No, that's how they trained you. They trained you to kill your own food and medicine. And it's about time we get off of that train and we begin to get on the train of wisdom. Because again, there's a lot of stuff that he has put right outside your front door, on your front lawn, on your back lawn, or whatever. And a lot of this stuff can address a lot of the issues that many of you suffer from. So there you go. So anyway, we facial creams, soaps, toothpaste. Again, that's a whole nother topic when it comes to dental care. Please don't, if you're still buying Crest gel and and all that other stuff, them folk put all kinds of stuff in there. We are about dental care, natural dental care that really gonna do the job, but yet not make you addicted to the sugars and stuff that they put in there. And at the same time, they're addressing the issues. One of the things I've been doing, I've actually been what's the water pick? Yeah, I use a water pick every other day. And I use a water pick and I put water, it's water, but it's also colloidal silver. I don't know if any of you have ever done that, but I have been doing that. Every other day I do colloidal silver with the water pick all in my my teeth area and all of that. And I'm gonna tell you, there was a time every now and then I was feeling pain in my teeth. I don't feel jack. You hear me? I don't feel jack. My teeth feel fine. And so, yeah, I spray all up in there, clean it out real good. But I'm doing it not just with regular water, but with colloidal silver. And that's not something we buy, but we actually did sell. But we actually did a video where we showed people how to make it. I believe it's on Samba Tree. Samba Tree. I believe it's on mybondtube.com. Just do a search for colloidal silver, and somewhere in the search results, you'll see a video that we actually did where we showed you step by step how we make colloidal silver. Or you don't have to listen to us. I mean, you can right here on YouTube. There are plenty of people out here that show you step by step how to make it. And we did the same. We wanted to show people how you can make it, and many uses it's good for your body and all that stuff. So we're very, very committed to this thing. So like I said, we got a whole section on teas, as you already know. You can also buy in bulk. We got quite a few people who buy in bulk. And when you buy in bulk, you actually get a much better deal when you buy in bulk. So check all of that out. Again, the website is sambatree.com. The website is sambatree.com. All right. All right. So let's go ahead. So today, for those that are just visiting for your first time here, again, you may have clicked on this and said, okay, when's he going to get to the topic? Wait. We're going to get to it. This is our update. This is kind of like our weekend update. So we're going to get to it in a moment. But first, I just do these little quick updates here, and then we dive into the topic, okay? All right, so let me see what else. So tonight, there will not be any movie, all right? Tomorrow, which is Saturday, July the 29th, starting at noon, we will finish out the series that we've been watching, all right? We'll do that tomorrow. All right. So that will be finished out tomorrow starting at noon. If you miss it, don't worry. I'll have the whole thing uploaded so that you can check it out later. Okay. So that's what's going on for tomorrow. All right. Sunday, I don't know what's going on, but I'm probably going to be hustling on Sunday too. So, but anyway, just to let you know about that. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and continue and get on with what else, the other stuff I want to bring up here. I'm going to jump right to the community page here. Sorry. And yeah, again, for those that are just joining me, if I sound a little different, it's because I am using a different mic, and get used to this mic for a little bit because, again, we're doing some things on this end here. So I had to switch over to this one, and then eventually I'll switch back to that. So anyway, let me go ahead now. Let me pull up this page here. We're going to go to our community page. Let's see, just very quickly. I just want to emphasize any post I did in case people have missed it. The significance of the X in our culture. If you didn't read that, make sure you check that one out here because, Elon Musk, he is, if you didn't know already, he changed the logo on Twitter from the bird now to the X because he's been very fascinated with this X. And what we talk about is simply from our perspective, from our culture, the significance of the X and where it comes from and why is it so meaningful in our culture amongst our people. And so anyway, I give you the links and everything. And don't you know, I gave links, showed people all this stuff. I had this one fool, basically, I'm just going to say it, that was like, this sounds like pseudoscience. Where'd you get this from? I'm like, did you read the post? This is what I deal with. This is what I deal with. You can give people a book, you can give them links, and they still don't want to believe. They don't want to read it. I can't help you. I cannot help you. So I was like, goodbye. Anyway, so yeah, if you haven't read this post, I would advise you to do it because it's a very significant symbol amongst our people. And we're going to continue to go through our history like this on this platform. That's one thing that's not going to go away. Because it is, because there is so much confusion that has been put out here. You got our people out here believing we're not African. Many of our people, they want to be everything but African, but don't even bother to pay attention to many of the mannerisms, the expressions and the preferences and things that we do innately. And when you do a side-by-side comparison to to the people of Africa, you'll see that the similarities are just beyond there versus the people that a lot of these folks want to project themselves onto, such as, Native Americans or Hebrews or whatever. We express the people of Africa all the time, and so that's what we talk about. We're going to continue to talk about that. So we got to so this is why on this platform, we're going to be going through our history, little facts and things like that, and show you why it's so significant. Because again, if you forget where you came from, you don't have any idea where the heck you're going. Okay. You just like a ship without a sail, So anyway, let's continue. So in this post here, I actually did a video this week. It's not here on YouTube. It's actually on my BondTube. And it's, just really me kind of sounding off on this, as LeBron James and the whole situation with his son and what many of us suspect is the culprit in that situation. Remember, I'm on YouTube. I'm on the plantation, so I can't really say what I want to say. But you know what I'm talking about. But it wasn't just LeBron James' son. It was other people too, that recently just, all of a sudden they just falling out, passing out and all that stuff. But the conversation doesn't begin there. The conversation begins with many of you who had loved ones who did the thing and either got very sick or they even died. That's where the conversation began. And we were part of that conversation along with other people as well, and really getting into the details as to what this thing is, why are they so aggressively wanting us to embrace it, all that stuff, right? So you got to talk around this AI monitor stuff. But you get what I'm saying. And so in this video, I actually talked about taking many of our, the black professionals or black medical people within the medical field who are seeing this thing unfold right before our eyes, but they're not really talking about it. Not really. I mean, when you got people, young folks, that are keeling over and being unalived, or many of our precious ones, our elders, that are getting sick now and have been healthy all of their lives, all of a sudden, now they're getting sick, or now they're having some other health ailments and stuff that they didn't have before. No history of that whatsoever, but now all of a sudden they got a history of it. You would think that these professionals would get together, and so black professionals would get together and say, hey, listen, we need to get together because this looks like some kind of attack on our people. So let's pool our own resources together. We don't want any Rockefeller money. Bill Gates, we don't want your money. We're going to pool our own resources together, and we're going to figure this thing out. We want to know what exactly is going on. I don't hear anything about that, do you? I don't hear anything at all about that. So that's what we got in, and we talked about that. There's a video on that. It's about half an hour long, so you can check that out. I can't really, because again, I'm on this plantation, so I can't go into all the details on what I was talking about there, but that's pretty much the gist of what we were talking about. Let's move on to the next post here. This one, I saw something. Yeah, I noticed the likes on this were kind of down. I don't be living and dying off of likes, by the way, but I do take notice on these things. Those folk, not too many people like this one, but it's true. It's true. We talked about this rumor that was going around this week or last week, probably a couple of weeks now, about these mosquitoes that was allegedly being dropped out of helicopters on the black folks that were attending a festival in Baltimore. And so I said, let's take a look at this, because logistically, just off the cuff, that sounds like an impossibility. But anything's possible, because we understand that there's a long history of this country doing all kinds of shady things, like, spreading, poisoning our waters, and, poisoning our foods, and targeting black folks specifically, and all this stuff. So there's a long history of that. So yes, as black folks, we have every, you're okay with suspecting certain things. But the problem that we have here is when you begin to roll out of here and begin to start stating it as fact, that's when you start looking like a jackass, basically. Okay. So we don't want that to happen. So I said, let's take a look at really what's going on here. And that's exactly what we did. Come to find out, yeah, there's some facts here that was being left out. So anyway, let's move on. I'll just go through it real quick. So first of all, we talked about how mosquitoes don't even fly. The highest they typically fly is like 25 feet in the air. Now, if you see a helicopter flying 25 feet in the air, you better start praying, because you're about to lose your head, an arm, half your body, basically. Okay, so yeah, so anything, so so the first question one needs to ask is, if you're going to drop mosquitoes out of the air, why would you disperse them in an altitude where chances are they'll probably freeze to death or die, because the higher you go, the colder it gets. And, you know, they just don't fly, because that's what I have up here. Everything's up here. It's a quick Google search. It's a quick Google search. It don't even take that long. Anyway, and so then you have people like Tariq Nasheed out here, who's always agent provocateur, you know, saying, remember when I told people about the swarm of mosquitoes released on the crowd at the Black Music Festival in Baltimore in June? This story came out this week. And this story is talking about the West Nile virus detected in Baltimore mosquitoes. Medical professionals urge caution. And so under his tweet, you had all kinds of people that was running with this and saying, see, I knew it, putting two and two together and coming up with 1,000. See, it's true. It's true. It's absolutely true. Okay, hold your horses. How many of those people look at the actual article? Well, because if you actually read the article, it says right in the article, so far, no human cases of West Nile virus have been reported in that county. There was no reported cases of West Nile virus. So Tariq, what are you talking about? If no human reported cases of West Nile virus was detected. So wait a minute. So the government dropped a bunch of West Nile virus infected mosquitoes on the people. The mosquitoes collectively decided, we ain't going to bite anybody. But be scared, y'all. You got to be scared. Be afraid. They're coming after you. And again, understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that this government, oh, y'all can just let your guard down. The government ain't going to never do anything like that. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is sometimes, or I would say a lot of times, our people tend to make up our own ghost stories. And a lot of times, government, all they got to do is sit back and listen to you as you come up with all kinds of stuff. So again, all I'm saying is, listen, you're not crazy for suspecting some of these things. But before you hit repeat, before you hit retweet, make sure you do your own little investigation before you go there. All right. And then the last thing I had on here, too, was Baltimore was ranked among the worst cities for mosquitoes. So you're telling me that all of these people, from the festival planners to the actual attendees, nobody knew that? All you saw was a video with all these black folks fanning these mosquitoes, and whoever had the video, they just happened to pan up in the air. You saw one helicopter, and all of a sudden now people already put in conclusion that the government must be dropping them. This article, by the way, it was written in 2021, so about 2 years ago. So yeah, Baltimore was ranked amongst the worst cities for mosquitoes. Okay. And for bonus points, I will say this, is that when you're talking about, yes, mosquitoes can spread disease. That's absolutely true. However, when it comes to GMO, I would encourage you to really look into GMO mosquitoes and exactly what that means and what do they actually do. To my knowledge, because I've looked into it, I haven't seen a case yet where mosquitoes actually spread something like a West Nile. I'm talking about via GMO. Let me be clear with that. Via GMO. Mosquitoes do spread disease, but if it's a GMO mosquito, can they do it? I'm sure they can. But a lot of the things, the stuff I was able to find, what the GMO mosquitoes, what they do is basically it's the female mosquitoes that actually bite. All right, so that's the first thing. Female mosquitoes actually are the ones that bite humans. Right. What they do is they bite you, get that blood, they use that blood, and they put it on their eggs so that the eggs can grow and all that kind of stuff. The GMO mosquitoes are basically male mosquitoes, and what they do is they tweak them to their DNA to such a degree so that when they mate with the female mosquitoes, what ends up happening is the babies of those females. Think of this as if you can have this in your mind. Mosquitoes. Just think of cartoons. That's probably the best way we can put it. How cartoons, how a mosquito got like a long nose. Well, kind of sort of mosquitoes got this long piece, right? And that they use to pierce your skin and to extract the blood, right? What they do is with the GMO, once they made it with the males that are GMO mosquitoes, what happens is it's when the babies, when they come to maturity, we're gonna call it the beak for now. There's a scientific name for it. I don't have it, but basically, what happens? There's a deformity that develops on the babies, so that they're not able to penetrate. They don't bite. They won't bite you, and then there's something that happens on the back part too. And so what happens is you have this whole population of deformed mosquitoes that develop as a result of that. Okay. And so that's when you hear people say GMO mosquitoes, that's what is happening. Okay. However, we also know that this government can do other things as well. So we know that as well. So I'm not telling you, I'm just giving you additional information. That's all I'm doing. I'm not like running cover for the government and saying you can trust them. It's okay. I just want to make sure our people kind of have a better understanding when we throw these things out, that we kind of really know what we're talking about. Okay. So yeah, I mean, a lot of this you can find as simple as just going on YouTube or, picking up a book, and you'll be able to find out a lot of this stuff here. But yeah, that's what it is. Cause now diseases are mainly like there was a case of Zika. You remember the whole breakout of Zika virus down in Mexico, where women were giving birth to children that were having deformities in their mouth. I don't know if y'all remember that. That was like a few years ago. And there was actually a couple of cases that developed down in Florida, in Miami, where babies were being born with deformities. Now, initially, what they were running out and saying that, oh, it's the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes, they're doing it, right? And I remember because we were living down there and they wanted to distribute these GMO mosquitoes in Palm Beach County. They also, and they did, and they also wanted to distribute them down in Key West. And people in Key West were like, man, we don't have nothing to do with this stuff. And they fought hard against it. But I think eventually they lost. But anyway, come to find out what it wasn't the mosquitoes at all. It had nothing to do with mosquitoes. It was the corn. What was happening was the pesticides that they were using on corn, they were spraying it all on the corn. Well, you're dealing with a significant Hispanic, Latino population where the staples in their diet is corn. So the stuff that they were spraying in there was getting into the corn supply. And so at that point, you got mothers who are expectant that was consuming this. And then unfortunately, the babies were being born, with different deformities and all that stuff. That came out like afterwards. After all the great mosquito scare, that came out afterwards. They were like, oh, it was the pesticides. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's what it was. So yeah, it's just we gotta just do a little bit more investigation, before we run out. Because I remember I went on Twitter, man. When I tell you people were retweeting this thing like a mug, people were doing videos on this and all, and I was like, did anybody bother to read any of the articles? Anyway, let's get back to it. So yeah, that's what that post was about. We talked about that. This one right here. Did you guys know we have a website? It's chalkstock.art. Shockstock.art. I'll bring it up on the screen very quickly. My son and I, we actually put this together because we, along with many other people, we not only are we were tired of the bad imagery of our people that's out here, but we wanted to do something about it. And that we did. So we put together a page using primarily this AI technology. We wanted to put it to good use. We didn't want to just use it just to create thumbnails. We wanted to create different types of packs, if you will, that really express the high points or the good things about us as a people, our culture. So you'll see everything, of course, we got Black folks foraging. We got a pack on the couples pack, and it's images. They're cartoons, good high quality, like cartoon looking images. We even got cute little Lego images, all kinds of images that you can use for all kinds of things. Creating your own calendars, creating your greeting cards. I've done that. Just all kinds of things you can do with it. We have a couples pack. We have one highlighting our beautiful women, all right, of all ages. We got one, a children's and a youth pack. We got one, of course, for the brothers, the men. We got one called the Go West pack. Black folks who are migrated out in the West back in the day, and really highlighting that. That is a whole topic in of itself that really doesn't get talked about enough. I actually came across an author, a black man. He's a PhD that has just did a book, I think a couple of years ago, talking about blacks in New Mexico. I'm really wanting to touch bases with him and would like to get him on here because that's a topic that I'm going to tell you, we don't talk about that enough. Anytime the topic, and I've said this earlier, anytime the topic of black folks creating their own towns in a Western environment, what's the one town that always comes up? It's what? It's Greenwood, right? Black Wall Street. And the reason why there's so much focus and emphasis on that is because there was that chapter where we were really running things in that town. It ended in tragedy. And I'm going to tell you, these powers that shouldn't be, and I'm not talking just white folks, it's also black folks too. They want to have you focused on the tragedy of your history, where you're only focused on, oh, they burned our cities down. Oh, they burned our crops down. They beat us. They raped us. Yeah. We were winning. We were doing okay. But oh, they destroyed us at the end. Oh, they got us. There's no hope. We can never be resilient in this country. Oh, boy. Womp, womp. They just want you to focus on that. But there are many stories that didn't end like that. There are a lot of successful stories in this country where we built things and they stood the test of time. And there's a video I did this week. We went to Timbuktu, New Jersey, where we actually drove through and I showed you a small village that's still standing to this day. One out of over 20 towns, I might add. And quite a few of those towns, even though the name changed, those towns would not be in existence had it not been for black folks. And, and some people may say, well, heck, no, all America, we can say that about all America. Well, you can say that, but I'm talking about specific towns that started off as predominantly black towns. And this is a part of our history that we don't talk about enough because, again, a lot of times we have been trained to focus only on the failures. We don't want our people just to focus on the failures. We want to focus on the positive, the good things. And this is why we created pages like this on chalkstock.art. So weddings, of course, everybody loves a good wedding. So we have a whole pack called the Wedding Pack. We got one called Inventors. This one is where we kind of use our imagination a little bit, our creative imagination. So you'll find all kinds of images of black men and women inventing things, creating things. We have one here called A Mother's Love, dedicated to all the mothers out there. So we have a whole pack on that. We just created a free one. Yeah, a lot of people jumped on that one. If it's free, people going to jump on that one. But we do have a free pack we put together. You get 5 royalty-free images that you can use. We have a tech pack, Black Folks in Technology, from little children to adults and older people in technology. So if you're looking for images of black, realistic black folks that are in technology, you can find it here. Then, of course, we did a pack for our graduates, our graduate students, our students in high school and college that are graduating. And we got that too. So we got that. We did that. Another thing we did too is we have a coloring book. This is called the Reach for the Stars coloring book. And if you look, we have a video somewhere on our platform. Just do a search real quick on our platform here on YouTube. This is a coloring book, has 50 pages of pages, 50 pages that focus on black folks doing things like such as owning their own businesses, working together as husband and wife, women having their own businesses, men having their own businesses, communities having their own businesses, inventing and creating all kinds of things. It's all about that 50, and it's $10, $9.95. So if you have children, you can get it. And we call this a forever coloring book. Why? Because it's a PDF base, meaning that once you get it, you can print it out as many times as you want and just forever until they get to college. If they still want to color, then they will still be here for them. They can keep printing it out. And there you go, $10, $9.95. So this is called the Reach for the Stars coloring book. 50 pages. All right. So we got that. So anyway, so there you go. We have a cards and accessories on page 2. You can check that out. So this is all on chalkstock.art. Okay. So with that being said, let's get on back to what I was saying. So we're working on right now a romantic pack, image pack. So I put out here which one y'all think we should include. Because I was like, oh, man, I don't even know because all of these look good. So I may include all of these, not sure. But y'all tell me which one. You could put that in the chat or in the comment section too or whatever. We're also looking in creating a pack on slave rebellions, African slave rebellions. And we're looking to do that too. So we're going to be working on that soon, where we're going to try to put some very compelling and inspiring images of different slave rebellions and all of that. So we're going to be working on that. That'll be the next pack we put up too. Okay. So that's what's going on there. Let's move on to the next thing. Anyway, let's see here. Oh, this was on this particular news item. This gentleman, I'm calling him that, but anyway, it's a Jewish man, basically. Sam Bankman-Fried. He was basically using his crypto platform as a way to launder billions of dollars. You had investors that was threw all kinds of money his way, but he was in turn using his platform as a way of shuffling money to the Democratic Party and also over to Ukraine at the tune of billions of dollars. I mean, he was caught red-handed. I mean, this was an open and shut case as far as his guilt on this. Well, this week, guess what happens? I'm not surprised. The Justice Department decided to say, you know what? We're going to drop the case. And that they did. They dropped the case. So this man is going to walk. So I'm not, like I said, first of all, I'm not even surprised at that. But while our folks are out here on the internet streets arguing about passport brothers, the gender wars, reparations, doing this tap dancing that they're doing on TikTok. Oh, do I have those images on? And she brought my phone. Yeah. This, you know what? This will be a good time for me to put that. I'm going to bring that up. right now. Someone asked, do you have a website that you can donate on? Yes, I do. Let's see. I will bring that up here too. Give me a moment, and I got some more. I got to show you this. I got to show y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let me get to it's. Oh, what is it? It is Linktree. Linktree.com. Hold on. Journeyman and woman. And I'm going to put the link in the chat too, okay, to make it easier for you. All right. So let me bring this up on the page. Linktree.com. There you go. And so you scroll down, first of all, linktree.com, it'll show you some of the latest videos that we've done, the different series and all of that. But I'm just trying to answer their question here. So if you scroll all the way down here, the donate buttons are right here. So yeah, that's, the first two, that's just for the general pot, if you will, right? If you would like to support BondTube directly, mybondtube.com, there's a link there too. All right. And so we got a lot of other things on there as well. So I'll put the link in the chat for you just to make it easier here for you. Okay. So there you go. I just put it in the chat. All right. Yeah. But right now, let me bring, and thank you. Thank you, by the way. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let me bring these videos up that I found. You remember I did a video earlier and I talked about, and I showed you how you got these fools that are out here on TikTok that are literally tap dancing for coins. And it's sad and it's unfortunate, but we got to see it because it's true. I mean, it's really sad. Anyway, let me pull these up because I got two more because I want our people to see this. I really want you to see it. I know it's painful to look at, but you really need to see it for real. You really do. Hold on. Just waiting to bring it over here. Yeah, so yeah, again, it's basically, in short, NPC means non-playable characters, and basically you are pretending to be like one of those players, those little people that you see walking on the screen when you're playing those immersive games where you're like walking down the street and you see people walking down the street and you bump into them and they're kind of robotic like or whatever. Well, that's a trend right now on TikTok, and people will in the chat will post different emojis or whatever, and then you have to act it out or whatever, right? And so like they'll say, thank you for the heart, thank you for the heart, thank you for the heart, yeah, and do all these crazy things, right? But I call it high-tech tap dancing. That's basically what it is. But I came across these here because I want you to see just how bad it is. Just how bad it is. Okay, so let me pull one up here. Let me see. I told my wife about this. She was like, Dwayne, you lying. No, this is very true. So watch this one. This is the first one.
I got one pack of noodles left. Yee doggy, that's a knee slap. Watch out the roads. Ain't no hoes in here. Appreciate it.
Okay, so here he's a black man pretending to be in prison. And so you got people in the tree or whatever there. He's like, oh, I love this chicken. Ooh, I like watermelon. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. And then here's the other one here. You thought that was bad. So you got a black man in prison, a black man pretending to be in prison, and you got all kinds of people, and you got a lot of white folks that in here. Because see what it is, it's a fetish. It's a fetish because you got women that was I would say predominantly are the ones that are doing this. People get their kicks off of telling people what to do. And like I said again, if you didn't see that video I did, please watch it because we showed you what it's really tied to. It's tied to a whole underworld, sexual world of sexual depravity. That's really what it's tied to. People think it's funny and they just trying to get that bag. But what it's really see this as an opportunity to get money. It shows you the great lengths that unfortunately some of our people will go to just to get a bag. Now, if you thought that was bad, check this out. For the person that's saying they're having issues with Cash App and PayPal, you can email us at connect@journeymanandwoman.com. I mean, if you feel more comfortable in mailing in something, I mean, we got some of our people that do that. You can do that, okay? But email us and then we'll give you another alternative, okay? All right. Here's the other one here. But again, I appreciate it. Here's another one here. Now check this out. You thought that was bad.
Roses. Extra roses. Man, you think I'm pussy? Roses, 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 roses. I don't pick roses. Roses, I don't pick roses. Roses, I don't pick roses. Speaker, you trying to get me in trouble. Roses.
So here now you got a black man pretending to be in a cotton field. Just so that they can get money on TikTok. Meanwhile, TikTok, the platform itself, it was developed over in China to highlight like math and technology and things like that. And that's really what it was targeted towards. In fact, if you go on TikTok, they have a section called STEM at the very top. Not a lot of people click on that because it ain't too exciting. Yeah, they talk about math. They talk about, you got people building robotics and stuff like that. That's where all the whites and Asians and some other groups, you'll see some black folks over there, but primarily if you go over there, that's what you see over there. On this side, what you see, I'm just saying. Of course, it doesn't represent all black folks because all black folks on TikTok ain't doing this. You got a lot of black folks on TikTok who are calling this stuff out, and rightfully so. But we cannot ignore this. And a lot of times what some of our people will do, you want to put so much distance between you and them. You got some people that will go as far as saying they'll take the Tariq Nasheed route and say, oh, they're all tethers. They must be immigrants. And then that opens up a whole nother thing. No, there's a lot of, that's our people, period, that do that stuff too. Just like every race, they got their own pocket of crazy fools. We do too. So there's no excuse for that at all. But it's crazy. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on here. We're getting to our topic here. So while people are doing that, engaged in that kind of nonsense, here you got Sam Bankman-Fried, who's walking, all these investors that lost millions, if not billions of dollars, they walking. And then you got people like Maxine Waters and other black politicians that he supported as well. He gave money to their campaigns. So when people ask and they say we need black representation, yeah, your black representation, they all pay. They're all on the bankrolls, period, and they ain't thinking about you. These are the people that people are begging to, please, can you let them know that we out here as black folks, we want our reparations. They ain't thinking about your reparations. They ain't thinking about it. They'll bring it up, maybe during a campaign stop, maybe, but they ain't thinking about that. The powers that the real controllers, it's best for you as a black man and a woman. I'm not telling you that it's not a justifiable cause, because it is. However, the system that we're in right now, currently, ain't in the business of handing black folks billions of dollars in cash. It ain't in that business. So what we try to do on this platform is to get our people to focus on our own ingenuity and our own abilities and our long history of being resilient and doing our own thing, so that if the government blows up or blows down, it doesn't matter. We got our stuff together. And we have a long history of demonstrating that over and over and over again. Only a fool would have you out here waiting at your oppressor's doorstep, waiting for him to give you $1 million. It ain't happening. Okay. It's not. Let me break it down to you. Okay. Let me be honest with you. Okay. You can get mad at me all you want, but you just have to be a complete fool to think that and to believe that. Because the way these folks are moving money, I'm telling you right now, they ain't thinking about you like that. I'm trying to tell you. Anyway, let's move on. Now, this one here, this post, we have been, if you've been following us over on our series, I guess that's the plural as well. Anyway, who told you that, and who in the L are you following, all that stuff. You'll find all of that. If you are interested in those series, you can go right over here to our Linktree page, and we are getting all into it right there. And what we're doing basically is we're taking a closer look at the Bible, because again, we realize again that our oppressors gave us the Bible. The Bible didn't come with us on the slave ship. The Bible wasn't something that we were embracing when we were in Africa. No, it was not. And I don't care what people tell you, it was not. The first time we heard the name Jesus, it was by way of the colonizer. We were not worshiping Jesus on the continent. There's no historical precedent where you'll see that. So they knew that, and that's why they were able to put the first slave ship, call it the SS Jesus, because we were like, well, we don't know about no Jesus, whatever, but they put us on there. But we didn't know what Jesus was, but we knew what slavery meant. We knew what they were doing in the name of their Jesus. And so what we're doing is we're taking the time and we're going through our history. We're going through our actual history, and we're finding out a great number of things when it comes to the people who actually put together the Bible. And what you'll find is that a lot of the Bible has been heavily inspired by people in Rome, in Greece, in throughout the Mediterranean area, the Mesopotamia. When you're honest enough, the problem is a lot of our people are afraid to look at this stuff. I'm not afraid to do it because, see, here's my thing. And I appreciate that one day of putting that reminder up. Thank you. Someone asked, people from time to time, the question will come up when we get into our topic, because this is the last post and then we're going to get to our topic. From time to time, people say, well, Dwayne, don't you believe that we're the people? Aren't we the people of the book? Don't you believe that? You used to believe it. Yes, I did. But see, here's the thing. See, their book is not designed or was written to make you a winner. Let me say that again. Their book, the book they put together. If you think these people are that dumb and stupid and crazy, they're like, we're gonna tell them the truth. But this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna tell you the truth, but we're gonna mix it up and we're gonna put it in a book, and they're gonna have to figure it out. They're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna put it in the book, and they're gonna have to figure it out. If they're trying to hide the truth of who you are, number one, what they're not going to do is they're not going to put it in a book. That's the first thing. Someone said, you don't believe in Jesus? I believe that a man named Jesus did exist, but I also believe in the entire history around him and the story that surrounds him. And then all the history that's out there ain't just contained in the Bible. Because if you're only using the Bible as your only historical point of reference, then you're missing a great deal. So what we've been doing in our series and all that, not only we're looking at the Bible, but we're also looking at his historical record that was written on, during, or even before the time of the Bible, so that we can now look at the Bible from a more holistic perspective, so that we can now see, okay, does this match what was actually going on during that time? What about this right here? The Bible says this, but all these historical records say that this was going on. Wait a minute, that's not a match there. Oh no, you can't say that. The Bible, you either believe it or that's it. The Bible even tells you, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established, does it not? So why not use that on the Bible itself? So we're looking at the other 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 witnesses and seeing, okay, does this correlate with what the Bible says? If not, okay. So again, we even did a whole series. Who told you that? Who are the people who actually put together the Bible? So we're looking at all of that. And we're only, as many installments of that series that we've done, we've only been scratching the surface. So I would highly encourage you, if you have not looked at any of that, please take the time. I'm not just sitting there running my mouth. We're actually giving you receipt after receipt after receipt after receipt after receipt, so that you can take the initiative and you can look it up yourself. Never take my word for it by itself. Always check, and double check. Do that with anybody. All right. So that's what we do here. All right. So let's go here and continue. Okay. So in this right here, I'm not going to read it. You need to read it. So because this is just the beginning. Because I would have done this tomorrow, but I think I'm going to touch on this next week. We're going to look at the influences of Genesis. Where Genesis, the story of the book of Genesis, chapter 1 through 11, where those influences really came from. One of them comes from a person by the name, he was a Babylonian priest by the name of Berosus. And this flood account was written right around the same time that the flood story was actually written. Now, here's the thing. The flood story the Bible one, the biblical one, the actual account supposedly took place thousands of years ago. But they didn't write it down until Greece took over Egypt. They waited all this time to write that down. Yeah, that's look again, you got to look this up. So that gave room for all kinds of influences to come in. One of the influences comes from this right here. So I would highly encourage you to take the time to actually read this, and you're going to see a lot of similarities. There's a whole lot of similarities. The Epic of Gilgamesh, which was actually before the time that the Genesis account was even written, the Epic of Gilgamesh has a lot of other similarities as well. And as we are digging into this thing, like I said, we don't have all the answers. You're going to find a great deal of Greek, Roman, Mesopotamian, Babylonian spiritualities and all of that. At the same time, they pretty much skip entirely over Africa. There's no mention of Africa in there. This is why I said once you begin to understand this, one would be a fool to sit up here and say that the Bible is the black man's history book. It is not. It's their history book. It's not our history book. Your history book begins in your house and you go backwards. It doesn't begin on social media. It doesn't begin on YouTube. It doesn't begin on TikTok. It begins with looking and observing at the different things that take place in your home, your family tree, your family structure, and going backwards. That's where your history book begins. Everyone else is out here saying, you don't look at that. Look here. I got a whole book. I could tell you about your history, but you're going to send me $50 and I'll tell you all about it. No. Or you got to come to my conference where we do a full breakdown. Or we got a documentary. I'm going to tell you, you got to pay for it, though. If you got to pay somebody to find out your history, you being scammed. You being scammed. If someone's going to charge you to tell you about your history, you being scammed. I'm just going to tell you. Your history, the story of you begins in your house and it goes backwards. And we look at all kinds of things from there. From recipes that have been passed down from in your household, the way you dress, the type of music, instruments, things like that. We looked at all the hairstyles and all kinds of things that we minimize because we are part of a system that wants to do just that, to minimize who you are. And that's what and this serves as a good segue to the main thing that we're going to talk about. But I just want to make sure you get that. You are part of a system that has heavily invested in making sure that it makes it very complex for you to find out and to discover who you really are. So again, going back to the question, someone says, do you not believe we're the chosen people or whatever? I believe we're something even greater than that. I believe that what he created us to be, it cannot fit in their book because they will refuse to put it in there. That's the last thing they would do. So I do believe there is something very special, something very unique about us that we have yet to discover. But before we get to that point, we have to make sure and make it a point to start getting rid of the lies that these people have told us. And they have told us many a lies, many a lies. We just have to be willing to face these things, face the reality of it, and start peeling that away. And as we begin to do that, he is and will continue to start revealing things to us. And like I said, our creator, he reveals himself through his creation. It's not hard. If I want to know about a painter, I'm not going to just pick up a book. I'm going to look at his or her paintings. You understand what I'm saying? If someone makes statues or whatever, I'm going to look at their artwork. So their statues to learn about them. Well, likewise, the Most High, when he created all of this out here, all of this is out here for us to discover who he is. And I would, again, Mr. Blade, I would advise you to go to that series, okay? Because I know we got a lot of folks here. They got TikTok mindsets. You want someone to answer questions for you. Bop, 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 bop. I can give you short answers, but I would advise you to get some knowledge behind that, because where I want you to go, I want you to be in a place where you can make up your own decision, and you're not just taking you're not making decisions based off of someone on YouTube only. Do you understand? I want you to, there are books that we point people to. We tell you to read them. There are different slides and stuff that we provide. We say go through those things as well. There are videos. Watch those videos. Pay attention. Ask questions. We even say, listen, email us if you got any questions. What we don't know, we'll point you to people who do know. We got to start developing our own minds. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the whole goal here. All right. So anyway, so there you go. So yeah, if you haven't read this right here, take the time to do it again. This is only one story. There are many stories I can point to that predated the Genesis story. And like, for example, and I'm going to get out of this, where it talks about, this is the story that still is like I'm still scratching my head on this one. After Cain kills Abel, and then he has this interaction with God or the Most High. What happens then? And so, yeah, what happens then? Yeah, well, Wanea, you won't believe you're Israelite. That's fine. We don't necessarily believe that, but that's cool though, because we've actually gone through all of that. And, but no, once you realize even the word Israel, where that comes from, you find out exactly what that's about, and you'll find that as you will not find any sign of that in our culture at all. You won't. And so, like I said, again, we meticulously have gone through all of that. All of that information is out there. And like I said, if there's something you find, or anybody you find that there's error or anything like that, you have to, then bring it out so that we can all learn. This for everybody, so but yeah, so even we even went through the law, statutes, and commandments and all of that. We even talked about that. Where did that actually come from? Where did these laws actually come from? Why is there 613 laws? Who wrote that? Who decided that it was going to be 613? There's a whole history behind all of that. But a lot of times we listen to people who only focus on repeating the text and not looking at the history behind it. And if it doesn't jive with what you believe, you understand what I'm saying? A lot of times people dismiss it and say, you can't listen to these white people. But a lot of stuff you're listening to, it comes from white people too. Anyway, so there you go. So with that being said, like I said, let's go ahead. We're going to we're going to bridge over to the main topic and what we're going to talk about. And let me take a short break. And then when we come back, we'll go ahead and get into that. Okay. And we're going to talk about this whole thing about something about our history, particularly as it pertains to our women, that has been forgotten, and our men too, because men, you're going to have a part in this too. We're going to get into that as well. We're going to talk about that, something that we're going to need to remember. All right. So thank you again for tuning in. Let me take a short break here and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get on to the main topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. And that is this whole thing. Let me go ahead and turn this off here. Hold on for a second. This week, I was on social media and I came across a video, whole lot of videos, but this one in particular, and it was a white woman who's a model. And let me see if I can pull it up here. She's like a runway model. This is her right here. I'll just play a little bit of it. All right, so you get the idea. All right, so I ain't got to play any more of that. So anyway, so you can see she's on the curvy side, right? And so, you know, things like that come on anybody's timeline every now and then or whatever. But I was really more interested in the comments because typically when you see a white model, most of the time, right? She's usually doesn't have that type of body, right? She usually doesn't have that body type. Typically, she's a lot more slender and all that stuff, right? But the comments were very interesting, because in the comments, someone reposted this and they said, "Is she too fat? Do you think she's fat?" And what I noticed is that all the white men were like, "Yeah, she's a pig, oink oink," and were just really railing on and talking about how fat she was and how big she was, and then some people went as far as reposting, "Now this is what our women should look like," and and then they had like a bunch of skinny white women up there, and people were like talking about the Cindy Crawfords and Brooke Shields and, from models back in the day in the 80s or whatever, they were really skinny and all this stuff. And they were just going on and like, see, this is all part of that woke culture stuff. That's what this is. That now, even fat women is beautiful. They're beautiful now. This is part of that woke culture stuff. Right. And so that's what they were saying. Now, what I also saw were black folks or black men black men were in the comment section, as you would imagine. Well, they had a much different take, and their take was, all the cat calls that you can think of that black men would give. I mean, everything she said, "Oh man, she's beautiful," and then I mean, just going on and on and on, so much that this lady on her Twitter, she said, I didn't know because I ain't checking. I haven't been on that page in a moment. She said her video actually went viral on Media Takeout. And because you had black men that were really like losing their mind over this model and saying how nice she looked and her body type and all of that. Now, on the top, how many black women we have that look like her or, has the same body type and look and are beautiful and all of that. I mean, what makes her so special? That's the first thing that comes to my mind, right? But what I want to do for this segment here is we're going to go a little bit deeper, a little bit of history in this. And I started thinking, and what I began to realize is that when this whole thing that we have out here right now, where you got segments of black folks who are saying that they're not African, or, we're this group or we're that group and we're this group and all this stuff. This is why we keep telling people, you can't just declare what you want to be and then accept that as fact. There's got to be, starting from your own house, going on back, you got to have a whole line in history of breadcrumbs, if you will, that align with what you're claiming you are. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in other words, if I say, for example, I'm Italian. Yes, I'm Italian. In fact, I can show you some old images of black Italians that look like me. I'm Italian. You can't tell me anything. I'm Italian. I'm an Italian man. Can't you tell? Look at me. Look at me. I'm Italian. So I can't. So me declaring that is one thing. But on the real, you have the next question you're going to say is, okay, well, prove it. What are some of the things in your family that show your connection to the Italian culture? Well, first thing you're going to say is, well, I like pizza. I like spaghetti. I always like spaghetti. Okay. Well, let's go a little bit deeper than that. Now, did you grow up in a home where your parents tend to make Italian dishes. They always made Italian dishes. Well, no, I mean, they would get Chef Boyardee or whatever. Okay, let's put a check mark by that. Okay, did your family ever use any kind of Italian expressions? When you guys were conversing in your home, like when you guys were having family discussions, when you just talking to one another, whatever. Was there any kind of expressions that are instinctively Italian? Did you ever hear that in your house? No, no, I didn't. No, I didn't hear that. Okay, let's put a check mark by that. Do you have any family that you can point to that, or relatives that are in Italy that you can point to? You've had conversations with it on? No, not really. Okay, let's put a check mark by that. And then you can just go on and on and on the list, and then you can apply this to any group that our people will say that they're part of. Same thing with our people who say, well, we're natives, we're natives to this land. Okay. And I take them through the same thing, literally take people through the same thing. And it's like nothing. I mean, everything that when you start taking people through this process and asking them what cultural expressions have been demonstrated in your house, in your family, that match this group that you say you're part of, they can come, it never fails. They come up with nothing. Everything they come up with is all African, all of it. We talk about the sucking of the teeth or rolling of the eyes, those kind of things. These are things that come out of African culture. That's just the beginning. There's a whole lot of things too. We talked about recipes, seasonings, all kinds of stuff, right? We just go through the whole thing. Well, there's another thing too, that as a people, when you look at us as a people, we have it's almost an innate preference for, specifically Black men. You will see that Black men, well, I would say African men, tend to have a preference for women who are on the curvy side. Now, when you compare that to white women, like when we would see white people, when we first started, I mean, it wasn't like an angel of the Lord just fell down and we just balled down, fell down. No, I mean, our first react when we first started, when white women and all that start coming, it was no comparison to the Black woman, the curvy Black woman. The more curvy a Black woman was, the more, of value, if you will, she was seen to be very valuable. In our history, if you go back, not just in Africa, but you will also see this in when you start going in Hispanic culture, when you start going to Aztecs, when you start looking at that or whatever, and you start looking at the artwork, a lot of times the women that are portrayed in the artwork, they tend to be on the heavier side. All right. Now, I'm not saying you all, my 600-pound life. I ain't talking about that kind of stuff. But for us, that was always a preference that our women were more on the curvy side. Right. And so this is something that's just innate in us. That's another one of those things, those little tell signs, if you will, that we try to run from and we try to disconnect ourselves from. But at the end of the day, what the Most High has put inside of you is inside of you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm speaking more to the men now. You can't escape that. Now, what we were brought into a culture that made that to look crazy and made it to look like y'all, made fun of that. Like we talk about the hot and top venues, Sarah Barterman, you see it on the thumbnail, and how they were just making fun of her size and sexualizing her and all this other stuff, right? I mean, the different things they would have her doing and all this stuff. Oh my goodness, you see how big her behind is? Oh, snap. You see, all of that stuff. Why? Because they never seen anything like that. But on the sneak tip, it was something that they really wanted. They wanted a part of that. They wanted to embrace that. And you'll see that in artwork such as this, right? When you look at the Victorian era, these white women, that's what they were doing, is they were trying to be like these women. They were trying to be, because then it makes no other sense. Why would you have a big old thing on behind your butt like that to make your butt look big? And then they'll also put things to make their breasts look big too. Gee, I wonder where they were doing, who they were trying to mimic. So this was European culture that was trying to embrace African culture because, as you know, now this image comes out of it's France, but they were doing this all over, where they were trying to embrace African culture, but not our skin. They didn't want everything else that was African, but they saw what we were bringing to the table, particularly our women, and they wanted that. But we came out of a culture, our people, where our women who were don't bro. I knew someone was going to bring up Sir Mix-a-Lot. Anyway, they came out of a culture where the more curvy our women were, the more valuable they were seen as. And now we live in an era where we see it's now being mocked to a degree. Right? When you look at people like the Kim Kardashians and, you know, for a long time, she had them butt injections and she had the breast injections. And you see, she took them joints out because she's like, I can't do this. These white women that were getting the butt injections and the breast injections, now they're taking them out. I just want you to understand just how sad this really is. Our black women, you were born with this. Okay? When you do it, you know, and I had to, do I have it up here? You can look this up. I don't know if I had this up. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. This is a part of one study, but there are other studies too. Hold on. Not that one. All right, here we go. Ethnic differences in body composition and their relation to health and disease in women. Let's go on. Differences in body composition between black and white women have been well established. Black women have more bone and muscle mass, but less fat as a percentage of body weight than white women after controlling for ethnic differences in age, body weight, and height. In addition, black women have more upper body fat than white women. These ethnic differences in body composition appear to be associated with disease risk in women. The greater skeletal and muscle mass in black compared to white women appears to protect them from osteoporosis. And then it goes on, right? So white women, when you look at the BMI of white women versus black women, you're going to see there's a clear difference. Same thing with Asians too. You can bring Asians in the mix too. There tends to be our women tend to be a little more endowed, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And that was seen as a blessing. But what happened is when we were brought into this culture, it was mocked, it was made fun of. And so now our women were put in a position where if you wanted to be seen as attractive in this culture, then you had to model yourself after the body structure of a white woman. That's what they were doing for the females. For the males, we talked about this as well. We did a video on this. It's called Liquor, the White Woman, and something else. Is a video I have posted here as well. And what that talks about, again, and I know I'm on repeat with some of this stuff, but for those who are new to the platform, we talked about in that video how in places like in Atlanta and other places, you had saloons. Now, saloons is basically like a bar from back in the day. There was another word for bars. Saloons, some of these cases, these saloons were owned and operated by Jews, but that's a whole nother topic. But you had saloons. Again, you had the whole like black people had their saloons and white people had their saloons. But for the ones for black folks, and it was mostly black men that were in here. On the wall, they had pictures of naked white women. Now, let's stop for a second. Now, why in the world would you have in a black saloon, a saloon that's geared towards black men, your customer base is black men, why in the world would you have on the wall pictures of naked white women? Why would you do that? Likewise, we talked about even the bottles of liquor that was sent out, that was being served to these black men. On the bottles themselves, the labels would have images of naked white women. Do you know what that's called? That's called alchemy. Because what you're doing is that you want to get these men in an altered state where they will lust after the white woman, but at the same time hate the black woman. We went through all of this in that video. Alchemy. And so what that did is that was one of the things that caused a chain reaction, if you will, between that. And then when you start going into the advertising world, we talked about that. All the ads, when he's talking about all the many of the ad companies on Wall Street, in Fifth Avenue in New York and beyond, in that whole area. You know that show called Mad Men? They tell you a little bit about it and who was running it. Again, it was Jews. Many of these ad companies were Jews that were running these things. And in a lot of the ads that you would see, they always would portray the black woman as being big and associating her bigness or her largeness with being like some kind of mammy and black face and she chasing kids. When they showed the white woman, not so much, right? She was slender. She's in this nice state-of-the-art kitchen and she's serving her man some food and all of that stuff. And they kept hammering that image into the minds of our men and our women over and over again. Basically saying what was natural to you as far as having that appreciation and a love for your curvy women, now we're going to mock it and make you mock it too in the process. And that's exactly what happened. And so even we talked about even a lot of the soap companies. There's some soap companies that are still in existence today. Soap companies, again, owned by the same group of people. In their ads, they were using, like before and after. Before, I got this, you got the black mother out there and she's scrubbing her black children. She all big and I told you, Thomas, I told you to come up here, and then after she washes them and now they white babies or something like that, something crazy like that. So what I'm saying is all of this right here. So getting back to this model that I showed you earlier, now what has happened is this thing has evolved yet again. So now you got white women out here. They are now getting into this whole game, if you will, where, I'm going to get me a big behind. I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to make sure I get a big behind. I get, build myself up here or whatever. And I'm going to get me some of these men out here. So now this whole alchemy thing that is taking place here has now gotten our men, it's perverted really, where it's pulling on our natural instinct of having an appreciation for our sisters who are curvy, but at the same time, the poison that they're putting in there and getting us to hate our curvy black women and to start attracting to something that's light and white, if you will. So that's what's happening now. This video again that I showed you, they said it went viral on not Media Takeout, on the other page, the World Star. It went viral on there. Not that World Star is any standard for black folks, period, but you understand what I'm saying. So what I'm saying to you, brothers especially, it's instinctive for you, the culture that you truly come out of. You had a great love and a great appreciation for our sisters out here who tend to be curvy and are beautiful. That is not a negative. Now, it is a negative when it puts you at a higher risk because of the way the Most High has built your bodies. It means all the more reason why you need to be eating a healthier diet. That's not just women, that's men too. We all do, right? Because why? Our bodies, we're the most natural ones. I'll just say it. Your body wasn't created to be living off of processed food. Your body is optimized in eating natural things. Your body is optimized for that. It's not optimized for Burger King and all this other stuff. It's not optimized for that. This is why, and even for black men as well, our bodies types and how our bodies are. Our bodies are optimized for natural foods. This is why when you hear these stories and you see things where black people have much higher risk for disease and all that stuff, yeah, because again, our bodies aren't optimized for that junk. I have a video here. It's a short video. Hopefully I can find it. And this man is a guy, he's breaking it down. Oh yeah, it's right here. It's right here. Let me see if I can pull this up here.
From peeing your brains out.
Man, my mouse is making all kind of noise here. Okay, so let me bring this up here. This man is 100% right. I don't know who he is, but he's 100% right. Let me bring this up. All right, let's take a listen.
Means siphon, because you're in the bathroom peeing your brains out. But no one knows what that means. I would change type 2 diabetes in all governmental materials and in medical textbooks, etc., to what it really is, processed food disease. Call it what it is. In addition, I would make hospitals get rid of soft drinks, as we have.
Disengaging from the foods they want you to eat. If somebody's singing a song to you about a food that you're supposed to go out and eat, that's a food you don't want to eat.
Yeah.
If there's a commercial, if there's a jingle, if there's a model, if there's a little cartoon character, that is something you don't want to go near. And that's the kind of decisions we have to make. We're being manipulated through our food choices. So as an independent human being, as a free-thinking human being, it should be an insult to anybody to drive through the Golden Arches or to go through Wendy's or to eat that kind of food, because that's how that's how our power is being usurped from us. That's how we are being controlled, through the water we're drinking, through the beverages we drink, through the foods we eat, and through the air we breathe.
You don't have to eat 6 times a day. You don't need to have that calorie input all the time. This is not right. Oh, breakfast is the best and most important meal of the day. It's not. In the last 200 years, you change your diet again. Now you are industrialized. And now you start eating processed foods. Vegetable seed oils. I told you about that before in a previous lecture. Totally processed. You need.
Okay, so you get the point there. So like what that first guy said, which is true, is that stop calling it disease. I mean, stop calling it diabetes. It's a processed food disease. It's processed food addiction. That's what that is. Your bodies were not created, black man, black woman. Your bodies were not created to be, to at a disability like that, where you were born with this kind. No. A lot of the stuff that we encounter, it's a result of the foods that we eat, the processed foods, and particularly for us as black men, as black women, our bodies are optimized and get the most strength and energy when we are consuming natural things. Again, if you want to know who you are, the key is what? Is to go as natural as you can, right? This is why another thing we talk about too is exposing yourself to sunlight. Your body is optimized to get optimum sunlight. I don't want to see no black folks out here. I saw another video, some black girl talking about, the sunscreens. And you don't need no sunscreen, okay? Especially if it's, there's some cases I've heard people make some cases on that, where they may need sunscreen. If you're going to use a sunscreen, then make sure it's a natural one. Make sure it's a one you make. Okay, I'll just put it there for the small amount that says that. But for a lot of us black folks, no, you do not. Your skin is optimized for that. Nobody in their right mind is going to be baking in 120-degree weather and just laying out there. You ain't going to do that. But going outside and spending as much time as possible outside in the sunlight, you were created for that. Now, getting back to our sisters again. So, this whole thing, brothers, let me tell you something. I wanted to do this part of the video tonight, because I want you to understand that if you have a wife, if you see these sisters out here that are, or curvy or all that stuff, and you have an attraction to that, that's innate. That's something that he's put inside of you. Now, that's no shade at all on our sisters out there that maybe you're not that. Maybe you weren't blessed so much with the curves and all that. That's not a curse. That's not a curse at all. Because you beautiful too. And I ain't just saying that just to say that. Okay. But I'm saying that when you go back, as you drill down into our history, you'll see that it was something that to be embraced. The body size of someone that is slender is something that was and to be pushed upon us and forced upon us, coupled with white skin, is something that is a result of this system that we're in right now. So as black men, black women, we celebrate both. We celebrate all these body types, but at the same time, we're encouraging all of our people to make sure you get back and scale back on this process stuff. All right. And all of this other talk out here, as far as, that's why I said we stay away from all this, like, black women ain't this here, you got to go overseas and all this other stuff. There are good black women anywhere you go. They are. You just got to look. I didn't say all black women are good, and neither am I saying all black men are good either. Okay. It goes both ways on that. But what I am saying is this whole thing, this whole topic, especially when it comes to body type, and I want our people to really understand the origins of this and where it really comes from. And now, like I said, in seeing that model and seeing the reaction of these brothers out there, I was like, wow, this thing has really gone another level now, where now they're projecting what's innate in them, in this preference of a curvy woman, and now they're projecting it again on white women, because there's this craziness that's out here to try to get us to hate one another. So that's something you can't escape. That is something you can't escape. I believe it's a blessing. This is something, like I said, again, when you look at these different cultures, you'll see that we come from a long line of culture where we are curvy women. We embrace them. We love them. We cherish them because it was a sign of beauty, and it still is. But right now, unfortunately, we're in a culture that condemns that kind of stuff, or also now it's clowning it. But all of this stuff is part of the unlearning that is taking place right now, that needs to take place. And as you can see, there's a lot to be learned. There's a lot that we got to let go, and there's a lot to be learned. And by embracing this stuff, I'm going to tell you, you're going to see a lot of a breakthrough. You're going to see a lot of stuff begin to happen and come forth for real. You are, and I would also encourage you too. I'm in the gym. I would encourage you too. That doesn't mean you just sit back and just be eating, In-N-Out burger and all this other stuff every other day. I'm not saying that. Again, like I said earlier, let's kind of attenuate the amount of processed foods that we are consuming, because again, our bodies were not created for that. It was created and it's optimized when we're eating and consuming natural things. Okay, I'm speaking to myself too. So again, hopefully you got something out of that, because when I saw that how this video went viral and all that, and the reaction of our men, it took me back to seeing just this game, this 4D chess that these people are playing now. And now, we have, unfortunately, some of our men are trying to project something that's innate in us onto another group of people. But no, it's not for them. That's for us. You know what I'm saying? And we got to learn to love and appreciate one another. It's a process, family. It's a process. Some people ain't going to get it at all. They still going to miss it. But it's a process. All right. So I love you guys very much. And again, I would highly encourage you, because I know I had some people who are just joining us, and there was some things we talked about earlier as it pertains to the Bible and all of that. One more time, I'm going to bring this up and I'm done. Please, I would highly encourage you to go check out this series that we did here. All right. Because I know a lot of times people don't want to do that. They just want, well, just tell me what to believe. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not in the business of telling you what to believe. I want you to look at the information yourself. I want you to read for yourself. And I want you to come up with your own conclusions. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the facts are the facts. Just because you may choose to believe something, it doesn't necessarily make it a fact. And so this is what we did. So we have a series called A Closer Look at the Torah. I would encourage you to look at that. Who are the ones that actually put the Torah together? Was the story regarding the Torah, was it accurate? We look at all sources so that we can make our own decisions on that. We have another series called Who Told You That, where we dive in deeper and we look at some of the things that have been told to us regarding the Bible and all that. And that's a whole nother series there. We have a series called Reexamining What We've Been Told. That's another one. circumcision. That's a whole nother series where we look at circumcision. And well, it says it in the Bible, so we should do it. We're looking at it from a medical perspective. We're looking at it from a historical perspective. Did you know that circumcision was something that was practiced in places like Egypt? It was practiced in Babylon. It was practiced even before Moses, or rather Abraham, I should say, was told to do it. Yes, it was. And there's a lot of historical record that shows you that. All right. What does circumcision do to a male psychologically? We talk about that. And there's plenty of medical resources that show you what happens to a male when he is circumcised. You know, it got a lot of people out here that are saying we got to be circumcised because the Bible says so. So you actually believe that your country, if you live here in the United States, is circumcising men because they are wanting to make sure that you are in alignment with the Torah. Do you actually believe that? Do you actually believe that? Why would a system that hates you want to make sure that you're being obedient to God? See, there's a lot of things that we will say that the system is evil, but we still believe that the system loves us for some reason. If they are pushing this thing, it must mean that there's something about it that you should know about, and you probably need to stay far away from it. So we provide a lot of information on that. All right. And you need to look at this. Then with our longer series, who in the L are you following? We look at everything from the word El, the God El. Where did that come from? We talk about the ark. You know, we talk about what inspired the ark. We talk about the pharaohs. We talk about Moses. We get into a lot of stuff. But like I said again, we're only scratching the surface here. That's all we're doing here. We're not claiming to know everything, because we do not. But these are good starting points for you. If this is your first time hearing any of this stuff, I would encourage you to come here and check this out. This is another series, The Real Moses, where that come from as well. All right. Where he come from, what his origins are. Who was he really? So those are things, family, like I said again, because I know we get people that come through all the time, and more, I would say the high 90 percentile of people, I tell people, hey, check that out. They won't. Because most people want you to simply tell them what to believe. And I'm not doing that. I'm not into that. I want people to think for themselves, because that's why he's giving you a brain, so you can think and process for yourself. And then whatever conclusion you come up with, so be it. It doesn't make us enemies. It just simply means you have a difference of opinion. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'll put the link in. Someone said, how can I get these lessons? I'll put the link in the chat for you. Okay. And it's all on this page. It's on our Linktree page. Okay. So you can check that out. If by chance you don't see it in the chat, which it should be there now, just email us at our email address, which is connect@journeymanandwoman.com. And I'll be more than happy to email it to you. And all of those videos, by the way, you can download them. All righty. I think I covered everything that I need to cover for tonight. I think that's it. So one more time, again, there will not be any movie night tonight. Tomorrow, starting around 12-ish noon Eastern Standard Time, we're going to wrap up that. It's a movie series. All right. It ain't a teaching series. It's a movie series. We're going to wrap that up. Tomorrow, starting around 12 noonish. And then later on in the afternoon, I will make sure all of them are uploaded so that you can watch them on your own, at your own leisure. And I think that's it. I think that's all I have for you, family. Listen, that is all I have for you this evening. Thank you so much for my face look greasy. I didn't realize that. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, your evening. Make it a great one. Okay. You guys take care. We love you very much. We'll talk to you again.